when Ray was young, Ray was an excellent pitter.
Ray had a lot of game foul history, and he loved to tell those stories.
Hello everybody, this is Ray Alexander, and I'll help you any way I can. I was raised the poorest that you can be raised, but you can't give up. You got to keep going. I didn't know I was poor, but we didn't have no running water or nothing in our house till I was a senior in high school. And I wouldn't quit, but that's how you got to be in life. You got to not quit. The best information I ever got, my daddy told me, said, I want you to watch TV tonight, son. Barbara Walters is gonna interview the richest man in the world, J. Paul Getty from England. Said, you might learn something. So I listened. And she was popping them questions to him, and he was answering, and finally he got enough of her. He said, God damn it, Barbara, I don't know everything, but I can make a phone call and tell you all you want to know. Well, that let me know that the richest man in the world don't know everything either. But he knows who did know. That's all you got to know in life. Nobody knows everything.
But man can do whatever he wants to. It's up to him to be the best at what you do.
A lot of people don't realize how good Ray was when he was young. He was a good feeder, he was a good selector. When I started working for Harold and training for Harold, Ray had a lot of Harold's blood. He'd bring in roosters with beautiful, beautiful feathers, and he wasn't raising commercial, but when Ray would come to Sunset, maybe once or twice a year, you better be ready, because he brought bears, and he was always ready. I remember one time they brought him to Sunset, nobody knew who he was, and they stuck him in an old cock house. There used to be an ice house back there, and they stuck Ray in there, and it was amazing how well he fought out of that cock house. He ended up winning the Derby. He knew something about chickens before everybody else did.
Because Ray was already advancing in age whenever I got a chance to really become friends. I mean, of course, I knew who Ray was my whole life, and I saw him here and there and this and that, but Ray was already advancing in life a little bit whenever I really got to become friends with Ray. And so I used to love to sit up there by him at Sunset and at the little pit down here in Kentucky and stuff, and listen to him tell the old stories and stuff. You know, Ray had a lot of old stories that had a lot of history. You know, Ray had a lot of game foul history.
My fondest memory of Ray was he was a good breeder. He was one of the first men that I ever seen that had bred the great long knife chickens. Back at 40 years ago, when long knives were starting to take hold real strong in the USA, Ray was very dominant with them round-head clarets. Well, Ray passed and I hadn't talked to him for a long time, and the old men are passing on and the world's a little bit less without them. They're like a light, and when their light goes out, it gets a little darker.
That's at Orlando, with the Orlando tournament.
Born July 10, 1936, and left his earthly body on July 3, 2019, at the age of 82. His survivors are daughters, Brianna, Leanne, sons, Harold and Andy, sister, Teresa, brother, Tommy Joe, 6 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Let's pray. Father, we bow our heads and close our eyes and acknowledge that, God, you see all things, you know all things. You're the creator of everything. As we stand, we sit, and we find ourselves in this place. With this body of Ray, we thank you for what it represents as a father, as a brother.
every year at the Araneta Coliseum, he would always invite me. Oh, where's Manny? Where's Manny? And the guys of Mr. Araneta, the owner of Araneta Coliseum, would always look for me, and then we'll have a talk. I bring my whole crew with me, my cameraman, my photographer, because Ray is such a rock star. Yes. Probably a lot of you doesn't know about this. But Mr. Alexander is a legend. Everybody loves him. He loves the Philippines. Filipinos love him everywhere we go. People would stop and take a photo with him. So Mr. Alera told me, Manny, why don't you do an interview with Mr. Alexander? I'm fixing his stay in his hotel. And I told him, oh, that would be an honor. So we started talking about sport. We started talking about his bloodlines. And I'm amazed while we were talking about how he loved the sport.
What made you fall in love with chickens?
I just love to win.
Okay.
I wanted to win fights, and I started off with Harold Brown. I started off at the top, because he would carry me to the fights to do the work. And Henry Wortham was who he would loan me out to in Orlando.
Yeah.
And he was an old man, but the best. His pool would bring 3 times as much as the next one. They auctioned pools all back then. So I learned a lot from Henry Wortham, but Harold wanted me to learn from him to tell him what Henry was doing. And that's how I learned a lot.
What was the greatest learning that you got from Harold Brown, which you can never forget?
Well, he just knowed how to select roosters. He always bred beautiful roosters, and he knowed exactly how to do everything. It was right to do it. He'd teach you, but you better learn, because he'd snatch your hand in two if you didn't do it like it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
So I to this day, I still do the same thing. Just you can't improve it. I was about 12 or something like that, and Harold Brown was out in the woods, and I was watching the woods fight. And somebody said, that's Harold Brown, one of the best cockfighters there are. So I said, I got to introduce myself to him. And I did, and he said, well, do you want to go to a fight? I'll take you to the fights with me. And so I started, and he was one of the laziest people on earth, but he was smart. I listened. Everything he taught me, I listened. And he taught me how to trim roosters, how to hold roosters, how to do everything. But he wouldn't have no mercy on you. You better do it right, or he'd snatch your hand in two.
So he's strict, Harold.
Strict, very strict. But he did it right. Now what he done and what I did then, it's just perfect the way to do it today. Everything he done was perfect.
And I tell you, without the great American breeders like Jeff Hudspeth, Tom Cooper, Mr. Lonnie Harper, Mr. Johnny Jumper, who passed on, the sport in the Philippines would not be that great. We love the sport. We love the people behind this. And I tell you, Mr. Ray Alexander is the ambassador of cockfighting in the whole world. And I love him. Thank you so much.
Smile of the legend.